1 in 8 Rock County residents are considered to be food insecure. Today, leaders brainstormed some ways to bring those numbers down, not only here in Wisconsin, but around the country, too. Our Elena Tomish brings us the latest from Beloit.
Since 2023, the number of people in Rock County who are considered to be food insecure has risen by 69%. Here at the Food Insecurity Roundtable in Beloit, community leaders are hoping to find ideas to change that. It's an issue many communities are seeing across the United States, the need for food. Here in southern Wisconsin, one county is working to bring those numbers down as prices for food continue to rise. Data from Feeding America shows on average, a family of 4 in Rock County that's considered to be food insecure has a food budget shortfall of nearly $3,000 each year.
In Rock County in particular, we have seen an 11% increase in the number of individuals experiencing food insecurity from one year to the next.
Today, people in Rock County who oversee food pantries within schools, churches, and other organizations gathered to share the challenges they're facing with having enough to give. Siri Jenkins with Second Harvest Food Bank says it's important to have these discussions at the local level.
Folks on the ground are the people who understand. They live in community, they work in this community, they understand the issues that are specific to this community. It's incredibly important for us in our work with communities to connect with our partners.
Jenkins also stressed the importance of togetherness as dozens of people in the county try to tackle food insecurity one meal at a time.
And really hope to see those connections be made, but also really centering the issue of food insecurity in this community and providing the insights that we can by convening folks to talk about these issues together.
In Beloit, Elena Tomish, WMTV 15 News.